Hello and welcome everyone to Vampire the Masquerade, Coteries of New York. This is a game I have been looking forward to for a while when I heard about it coming out, and I'm excited to play it today and share it with all of you. As you may know, I played through Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines for the first time earlier this year, and since then I've been really bitten by the Vampire the Masquerade bug and very intrigued by the world of darkness as well. I watched a bunch of LA by Night. I think many of you might be familiar with it, and now I'm excited to jump to New York and see what the Coteries of New York have to offer. Before we start, I want to thank Draw Distance for giving me a key to check out the game. Very generous. And now let's check out Vampire the Masquerade, Coteries of New York. Last thing before we start though, let me know in the comments below what your experience with Vampire the Masquerade is. Both the tabletop game, video games, anything in between, let me know. Very excited to hear all about that. I'm far from an expert in it, so let me know what you think. And now, let's enjoy the game. First decision, obviously. We have to choose our clan. It's Brujah, the rebel against power and rage against authority. A seemingly insignificant man with significant ideas will join their ranks tonight. Ventrue. The aristocratic blue bloods embody wealth, sovereignty, and control. A top-level corporate executive will join their ranks tonight. Or Toreador. The divas seek thrill of art, romance, and cruelty amidst stagnant undeath. I thought about which clan to pick, and I'm still not entirely sure. And if this is a lot of fun, I might do a second playthrough with another clan. But for now, I think I will start the Toreador clan. Our name. So the suggested name is Lamar. Yeah, let's go with Lamar. Let's go with it. New York taught me to believe in fate. Had you asked me about fate... Ooh, that was quick. Had you asked me about fate back when I was human, I would have told you it's just superstitious bullshit. That we are all designers of our own destinies. That belief shattered when the richest woman in the United States, the actual richest one, not a face you could have seen in the papers, of course, sank her teeth deep into my neck. It happened in the very same place you're standing in right now, by the way. Fate? You decide. Please, there's absolutely no need to be hostile. Just listen for a little longer. You see, my mistake was I flew too close to the sun. It makes sense that my punishment was to never see its glow again. I was incandescent. I was incandescent myself. I was hot shit. I had it all. Money, looks, confidence, connections, men, women, a career, and a spark in the eye, the one you need to be born with. And that's when someone far more powerful than me saw my radiance and thought, that won't do. She robbed me of the light erupting from within me and gave me a subtle, enduring gleam in its place. She decided it would fit me much better. She was a 9th generation kindred just like you, an apex predator. She probably enjoyed showing me a peak of human excellence, my real place in the food chain. It's such an eyesore when you look at some loudmouth braggart and see them for all they really are. The temptation to teach them a lesson can be unbearable, right? Well, my sire's lesson was a lesson about fate, a message saying, you're eternally doomed to being at the mercy of your sovereigns. It almost drove me to destroy myself. What saved me was the ability to reinterpret her teachings. Hers wasn't a message of doom, it was a message of hope. Fate exists and one can shape it if given the right tools. My sire didn't believe my tools were fitting for the job. She considered them toys, and me, just her amusing subject. Well, she's deader than dead now, and I'm still here, standing right where she stood when we first met. You might have wondered how I've learned about your arrival to JFK Airport. My answer is, of course, destiny. As luck would have it, today happened to be a day some of my associates were inspecting the coffins. Driving you here straight from the plane and having you wake up in such an unfamiliar place was a little desperate, and I do apologize for it. But it is so rare for you to visit New York. 3 times in the last 15 years, was it? And you're never eager to inform me you're here. I understand you still have that meeting on 53rd Street later tonight, so I'll provide a comfortable transport. I value our relationship very much, don't get that wrong. But it is precisely because I value it that I'm going to ask you to repay the favor you owe me. You're the only one I trust to do the job well and without attracting attention. You might think I'm crazy asking you to breach the rules of our society like this. You might think you won't get away with it unpunished. But this is New York, and I don't know about other cities, but in this one, fate really exists. And right now, it's smiling in your favor. This is how it begins. Okay, this is a log. Just wanted to check out what the options here are. Dictionary. Okay. You stifle a yawn. It's been a slow evening. The little bit of red liquid left in your glass and the crumbs on the plate remind you that, if nothing else, these art exhibitions at least come with some decent wine and legit catering. And yeah, it's fun to talk about your work on display, even if you end up discussing it with pretty much the same people at each such occasion. You've already met that one critic who keeps telling you, with self-assured authority, how you should pursue a different artistic avenue. Then there's the obligatory doe-eyed art student who so impressed with your technique. To be fair, you're not all that happy with your latest piece, but hey, it's not the worst thing you've seen tonight. The ignoble dubious honor belongs to one of the other paintings on display. And yet, its author, currently being paraded around by his rich parents, has barely been able to grab a bite of the fancy canapes. So many sycophants to meet, so little time. For a moment you think that maybe it's not worth it. Maybe you should take the critics' advice, cut your losses, sell out to some corporation, get over with it. And as if the universe wanted to validate that train of thought, that's the exact moment your sister Emma decided to pop up in your view. Okay, we have a sister. So let me get this straight. Cushy corporate jobs are selling out, but supporting a billionaire's vanity project is totally fine with you? Hi, Em. You absolutely despise her as an artist. While you're struggling to uphold some nebulous ideals of what art is meant to be, she's perfecting her ways of mooching off the system. Shamelessly preying on little-known street art and niche internet memes, she packages them as bourgeois-friendly collages. So it's perhaps no wonder the New York Times has recently dubbed her a mind-blowing explorer of digital art's extreme possibilities. But in spite of all that, you absolutely love her as a person, even as you welcome her by smacking the back of her head, a gesture meant to convey nothing but deep affection. No, but seriously, supporting young artists? My ass. I don't know what kind of money you got for this piece, but I doubt it was even a fraction of what it's going to be worth in tax benefits. The gallery owner actually said that if he had to choose his most valuable audience, it would be the IRS, and I'm pretty sure he was only half kidding. You mumbled a non-answer and then sank into a different subject, trying to preemptively quell her repeated offers to get you a steady job. Of course, she proves as insistent as ever. You know, sometimes I just don't get you. On the one hand, you wouldn't be caught dead taking money from the inevitable winner of the culture wars. On the other, if someone gave you the chance to collaborate on some dumbass Oscar bait flick sponsored by Larry Ellison's bailout fund, you'd do that shit for free. She rolls her eyes and asks, you know what the only difference is between the art scene and the culture industry? The culture industry actually pays your bills. As expected of someone who's given up on attempts to infuse her work with any sort of enduring quality and decided to just keep responding to the zeitgeist. She claims to happily accept the fact that after she dies, both she and her work will end up in a landfill. When you respond that you prefer chasing a 1 in a million chance to immortalize yourself, she claims it reeks of overinflated ego. But you've been down this road too many times before and managed to accept she'll never understand what's truly important to you. Slowly but surely you move on to more agreeable topics. Your plans to finally get hammered together, or the most recent crop of garbage Netflix shows your friends have tricked you into trying out. Alright, gotta go. I've got a date. She peeks at a bunch of middle-aged men in expensive suits who have stopped pretending to care about the exhibition and are exchanging the worst lecherous jokes they've got in their stale repertoire. Have fun with your friends, class traitor. She gives you a hug and heads for a nearby elevator. There goes the pleasant part of the evening. Still, you decide to delay the inevitable and catch a quick smoke break. Truth be told, people aren't exactly lining up to chat about your work anyway. As you leave your post, you start tapping your pockets in search of a lighter. Instead, you find a $100 bill you're absolutely sure wasn't there before. Jesus Christ, Em, you're the worst. And the best. You can feel your cheeks turn red, but you gratefully put the money in your wallet and move outside. When you reach the balcony, you look out at New York City and light the second last cigarette left in the pack. You're alone. It's not silent, the metropolitan hum is ever present, even this high up, but it's a good deal more intimate than what's behind your back. You lean over the railing and look down. The streetlights beckon more than usual. In your mind's eye, you see yourself as your final artwork, beautifully splattered all over the pavement. Work title: Delusion of Grandeur. The author: a brilliant artistic soul crushed by unfeeling reality, gone too soon. You chuckle and flick the cigarette into the air. Freshened up by the night's cool breeze, you squeeze back into the stuffy interior. You barely make it a few steps before lethargy sets back in. It's like you never left. Still, something in the room feels different. Your eyes are drawn to a handsome young man, neatly dressed and groomed, exuding the air of a true artiste. And the best part? He's intently looking at your painting. The gallery is almost like an art installation itself. Now, people standing in silent awe of a guy like a beacon drawing everybody's attention. Hushed conversations about the guest can be heard from every corner of the gallery. Your heart is pounding with excitement, and you approach, feeling like a kid trying to get close to a deer in the woods, but afraid you'll scare it away. The man turns to you, and you stop in your tracks, entranced. So, this is one of your pieces? You manage to mumble an affirmation. Tell me about it, please. As you start discussing your inspiration, technique, and process, the man's eyes lock onto the painting again. He keeps interjecting, making knowing remarks. This guy gets it. He really gets it. The world around you disappears. He'll say anything, do anything to keep his attention on you, but you realize you don't need to. He's into your art. He's into you. I want to buy it. I want your company. I need to talk to you. You will like what I have to say. Spoken matter-of-factly, served straight up, like he knows that you won't refuse, that you can't refuse. An hour later, you find yourself at his apartment. One of many, you presume, with your self-esteem all but patched up and your head full of fine vintage. You tell your host a lot. In fact, it seems like you're telling him everything. Where you came from, how you ended up in New York City, how you had to take out a loan to appear at tonight's event, how you took the long look down the balcony, that you thought about taking the plunge, and this time you were only half joking. You feel miserable. You start crying. He holds you in your arms. You feel calmer. The tears stop flowing. It's been so long since you last had someone you could not just talk to but communicate with and seen by. Who knows? Maybe there is hope for you yet. That feeling of bliss is the last thing you remember before passing out. Next thing you know, you're lying on the couch in the same apartment, hungry and dehydrated. How long has it been? Hours? Days? More? You're feeling weak, confused, abandoned. You look around in a panic. Is he still here? Thank God, yes, there he is, standing in the doorway. His voice breaks the silence and fills you with hope until you realize what he is saying. I am sorry. I hope that maybe one night you will forgive me. Always remember that in our parting moment, I wished you well. You try to speak, ask him to stay, but no voice leaves your parched throat. You taste something on your lips. Wiping your mouth leaves a crimson stain on your hand. It's not the wine. What the fuck? The door of the apartment closes behind him. Alone. Again. Then the pain hits. It's a headache. Lurching in your stomach, a burning in your arms and legs. It's all you can focus on. Panic takes you. You fall from the sofa and hit a wine glass. It flies off into a wall, shattering into bits. A mumble from the corner of the room indicates that you're not as alone as you thought. From where you are lying, you only see a feminine shape stirring awake. You crawl towards the woman. Inch by inch, the pain turns into an urge. You need to get closer to her. You begin to see details, the long hair shrouding her face, the worn-out NYU hoodie thrown over her skimpy peach-colored dress. She opens her eyes, moves her locks to the side, exposes her neck. A rabid instinct takes you. In the blink of an eye, you find yourself buried in her hair, smelling her sweat, mixed with just a hint of cheap perfume. You bite down and drink the blood from her vein. Wait. What is happening? You break away. You look at the girl. She lets out a sigh, goes limp and unconscious again. You try to crawl back, her dress rolled up to the side, and you glance at her naked thigh. You lose control again. Bite her leg. Drink deep from the artery. It's intoxicating. It's bliss like you've never known before. It's beautiful. You break away again, fall to your back. What the hell was that? Did you really drink her blood? She's not moving. Oh God, she's not moving. You check her pulse. She's cold to the touch. Nothing. No heartbeat. No sign of breathing. That's when it hits you. Your chest isn't moving either. Your heart is not beating. You're cold to the touch. You reach for the phone. It's not there. Where did you leave it? Maybe he took it? Impossible to say. You stumble around the apartment, but find nothing you can use to call for help. You need to get out of here, now. You look outside the window. You're high above the streets. There's no balcony, and the building's exterior is glass almost all the way down. You never survived the jump. But maybe that's precisely why you should leave the room this way. You've just killed somebody. Your life is essentially over. A sickening void is opening in your stomach, warning you that your reality is about to turn into unbearable hell. A voice in the back of your head tells you that the smartest course of action is to take the leap before it does. And the more you argue with it, the more reasonable it sounds. You're just about ready to pick up one of the chairs and try to break the window when you hear the clicking of keys in the lock. You freeze in place. This is bad. Your thoughts start racing desperately, but instead of rational course of action, only visions of false hope come to your mind. What if it's him? What if he's had a change of heart? What if he sent someone for me? You almost feel your heart beat again with excitement as the door opens. Almost, but not quite. A man enters, but not the one you expected. He's tall, broad-shouldered, handsome, with darkish skin. His suit is stylish and immaculate. You've never seen him in your life, but you immediately see past his sharp looks to see his sharper nature. He is a predator. And if you're not careful, you might become his prey. Good evening. I'm here to pick you up. A deep, emotionless voice. Turns his eye to the lifeless body of the girl in the purple NYU hoodie and raises an eyebrow. Who are you? I'm the ferryman, here to take you to the other side. He approaches the bed to examine the corpse from up close. Well, this is unfortunate, but preferable to going insane from hunger. Quite a nice gesture, actually, if troublesome. He briefly looks at you with something like a pity in his eyes, then changes his expression to a perfectly blank one. Listen, you may perceive your current situation as something out of the ordinary, but I've met hundreds of lost sheep like you, and you see, they tended to fall into two categories. First, there were the smart ones, those who carefully obeyed my every word and didn't pull off any stupid stunts. They always got where they needed to go safe and sound. Then there were the dumb ones. The punks who thought they could take me on. The wise guys who tried to contact somebody secretly and without permission. The troublemakers who tried to run off or make a scene. None of them got to their destination in one piece. In fact, a lot of them never reached their destination at all. The man talks in a bored, professional tone, giving off an impression that he really has delivered his speech countless times by now. So you see, despite being a smart person, I'm a Mets fan. I love baseball, and it inspired me to come up with a 3-strike system to determine if someone is dumb. If you get on my nerves 1 or 2 times, well, I understand. Not all of us perform well in stressful circumstances. But if you do it 3 times, I understand that there will be no excuse, no forgiveness, no mercy. His presence changes ever so slightly. Say, I understand, sir. Now, feel an overwhelming, barely resistible urge to fulfill his demand. Let's go with it. I understand, sir. Excellent. Alright. Have you got anyone you'd like to inform about your current situation and tell them you're alright? He flashes his fangs briefly as he talks, and for some reason the sight causes a chill to run down your spine. Something's wrong with him. Someone closest to you? Oh, now this is a tough one. Like, obviously our sister's close to us, but we don't want to drag her into trouble. His name is Eduardo. He's my boyfriend. He lives in Queens. He's a barista, and the stranger's been watching you with very eyes since the moment you started talking, but only interrupts you at the first moment of visible hesitation. You're 100 years too young to try and fool me, whelp. Even your tells have tells. First strike. Try again. Oops. Your first instinct is to protest, but you realize your thoughts are still too scrambled and panicked to come up with anything coherent. You give up on all planned attempts to provide poor Eduardo with convincing psychological depth. Emma, my sister, she's probably having a night out in Brooklyn with her artiste friends. Can I call her now? You take out your phone while asking the question. He shakes his head and points at the hooded corpse next to him. If you want to implicate her, go ahead. I think we'd all be better off if you let me make sure that she only knows what she needs to know. Yeah, agree. Give me her phone number. I'll have someone get in touch with her. You oblige and hand him the smartphone so you can copy the number from your list of contacts. Thank you. This will be useful in illustrating my next point. Instead of giving you back your phone, the man hides it in his pocket. From this night onwards, you are subject to different laws than the ones you grew up with, and you'll be watched by many eyes to ensure these laws are respected. You are forbidden from letting anybody you know you're still alive. You are forbidden from showing your face anywhere they know you. If anyone comes to search for you, it's over, both for you and them. He interrupts his monotone recitation to stare deep into your eyes. So if you don't want someone to find your poor sister's body in the Hudson River next week, cooperate. So, of course he tricked us, but I don't think we had much of an option there. The sight of his fangs, again, and another physical fight or flight response. You've played right into his hands, putting him in danger. I can only hope that you care for her enough not to do anything selfish. By now you're absolutely sure he's just toying with you, provoking you just to feed on your reactions. He hasn't told you where you're going yet, but he's already made it abundantly clear that a lot of people struggled hard to avoid getting there. You'd be far more eager to cooperate if he never raised the subject, but he made it a point to make you fear the unknown. He's pushing you, but to what end? Does he want to intimidate you into complete submission? Is he hoping you'd give him an excuse to get rid of you? Or maybe he's testing you, forcing you to show what you're made of. Somehow he makes all of these options seem plausible at once. Alright. I think that's enough lectures for today. He takes a glance at his silver watch. It's a Patek Philippe, the kind of brand mere mortals never see outside of a luxury lifestyle magazines. Just who are you dealing with here? It's past 3 a.m. now. The sun will come up in just a few hours, so we don't have much time. Come, we need to leave so the corpse can be taken care of. He turns his back on you to unlock the door. I guess head out means following him, right? I guess, yeah, we don't want to mess with this guy. Okay. You obediently follow him out of the room. Before he locks it again, you manage to take a final glimpse of the corpse. You feel a pang of conscience, but not because of your victim's horrible fate. It's because you don't feel guilty even though you know you should. Something important inside of you that was still there yesterday has definitely died tonight. I wonder if you'd recognize yourself in the mirror. The stranger shows you to the elevator. You go to the ground floor. During an awkward ride, your dazed and confused mind desperately searches for a glimmer of hope and eventually comes across one. Maybe you'll find the man you met earlier this night. Who was that man? Do you know who was the man who brought me here? That's what I'd like to know. As of yet, he is unidentified. They have left no trace, and it's obvious they are not planning to come back for you. If, and that is a big if, you ever see him again, it will be tomorrow, and probably for the last time. For the last time? What do you mean for the last time? His face is inscrutable. I said what I said. All I can add for now is tomorrow is a big night for you. The elevator door opens to an empty hall. You walk outside past the night guard's post, which is empty. The cold night air reminds you of the balcony just a few hours ago. The man motions to a black Cadillac Escalade. Take a seat in the back, please. You get inside. The man closes the car door behind you. You hear a click as it locks. The Cadillac is almost entirely dark. The inside window seems light-proof. The man gets into the driver's seat, starts the engine, and drives away without comment. Where are we going? Where are you taking me? A safe place. Forgive me, I am not in a talkative mood. This won't be a long drive. Patience. That silence fills the car. You close your eyelids and sink back into your thoughts. A blurry afterimage of the man who bought your paintings is still there. It's strange. You never felt this way about anybody. It makes you happy, even though you have the nagging thought that there is something fundamentally abusive about this attraction. Then the girl's hair spilled over the purple hoodie and her blood spilled over the cold floor come into sharp focus. You wince. You want to cry, but it's as if there were no more tears left in you. After what feels like an eternity, the car comes to a stop. You get out in an underground parking lot. It's an ugly concrete gray thing, empty but for the car you came in. It looks like there's a room beyond a metal door in the wall. Guess you'll live to see another day. Follow me. He opens the metal door and lets you inside. And what's behind that door, we will find out in the next episode of Vampire the Masquerade, Coteries of New York. Let me know in the comments below what you think of the start. I really enjoy it. It really sets the atmosphere right. I like the music, and the art style is really cool in the background. I like the slight animations as well. It sets the mood very well for what we're about to witness, and I'm very intrigued. I'm intrigued where this will be going. I think we can safely guess that we just got embraced by our sire, the vampire who left, and now we got picked up, similar-ish to how Vampire the Masquerade Bloodline started. But I am sure this will go in a very different direction. But thank you all for watching this first episode. If you enjoyed it, please give the video a thumbs up. Maybe consider subscribing to the channel. Share the video with friends, family, and the people on the internet. That all helps me out a whole bunch and will bring you more content in the future. I will be back with more Vampire the Masquerade, Coteries of New York tomorrow. Until then, have a great time.